I originally went down as part of the Rural Studio, and I went down as an outreach fellow, and I was going to spend a year, and they asked us not to build anything. I think there was too much building going on. And what I started to do was meet people and kind of listen to what their needs were. And I met elderly widow after elderly widow, and they all had the same situation. They qualified for a federal housing loan to buy a house, and they needed housing, but a house couldn't be built for the amount of the loan that they qualified for, and that amount was $20,000. And being a panty designer in my past, I had no experience building houses, and I didn't really get in my head that you can't build a house for $20,000. And I started going to like housing conferences and looking around for architects that might be able to help me with that plan. And anybody that was knowledgeable knew that you could not build a house for $20,000. And I still knew that I needed that house, and I didn't know how to do it, but I know that there were hundreds of women and people that just needed help, and I knew that I had to do it. And I think one of the things that really inspired me, that the Rural Studio kind of stepped up to that challenge, and they said, well, we don't think you can do it, but we're going to set a team of students to try. And John has a picture. This is the third iteration of prototypes that fit that bill. They're built to a standard that the federal USDA Rural Housing Service says you need to build to, and it allows an elderly person with an income of about $600 a month to own the home for $60. And you know, that includes the land. It's an energy efficient home, green built. And the idea is they have no maintenance on that house at all for 30 years, so they can continue to live out their life in decent, affordable housing. This is Frank Harris, who was the recipient of the third prototype that was built. And his biggest concern, as a black person living in the South, he didn't think he was allowed to own land. And I went with him to the bank the day he actually bought his land, and his house was donated by the students. And he cried at the bank manager. He said, "Really, are you sure that I can own a home?" And it was a really inspiring thing to sit there and see that change start to happen. So this is Frank just a little bit after moving into his place. This is Dinah. She was actually a recipient of the 7.5 version of a house, so this was even a smaller one for her. She had a mental disability and had been living on the ground for years and years and years, and her main concern was that she get off the ground, away from the ticks. She had always cared for stray pets in town, and she really needed a way to get away from the ticks and off the ground. And so this is her version of that little house.